All right, welcome to the Town of Acton Planning Board meeting for January 16th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Call it to order and stand for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just Andrew for an alternate tonight. Again. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes? Saw one slight correction.
Correction?
Yeah.
What's that?
First page, members present, then members absent. Can't find it.
I make a motion to accept the minutes for January 2nd with the change.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? All right, old business. Stephen Levitt, 224 34th Street, tax map 153, lot 027, application for Prius practice. Just give a quick rundown.
Okay.
Yeah, just.
Yep.
Please.
Looking to lift the house, the existing house where it is now, put a foundation under it. The reason being to kind of winterize it and be able to stay there longer year round. And then add the 30% expansion that we're allowed to the back side of the building.
We were there for a site walk today. How it goes? Look.
It was cold.
It was cold.
They look good. I don't think it's reasonable to have the house come back as far as we initially thought, looking at the drawing, the picture.
It's a short space.
Yeah.
It's a short space.
What was saying, like, was it 10 feet?
I was thinking 10 feet, John.
Yeah, not the 15.
No.
Yeah.
That's gonna make it really too tight there, but I think bringing it from 27.3 back to 37.3 is reasonable. That will still give plenty of room between the,
That's pretty close to the shed. I mean,
So right now, the back of the house to the shed is, the front of the shed is 28 feet.
yep.
So with the new depth of the addition, it would be
13 feet.
13 or 14
Yep.
feet from the shed.
10, you're saying moving it back 10 feet?
Move it back 10 feet, yes.
Well, right now,
They're proposing, what is it,
No.
15 feet,
well, we're,
or 17 and a half,
Actually,
so
no,
it'd be
it's-
25 feet, so you'd be 3 feet off the shed.
right, you'd be, actually, when I measured it, you'd be 4 feet off, which is, to me,
You're correct, yep.
tight, real tight.
Tell me that math again.
So it's 28 feet from the back of the house to the front of the shed. They're proposing a 15-foot deep addition.
14 foot.
I have 15 on this large map, that's what I'm reading off.
15 feet wide,
15
14
is the
feet
width.
deep.
So 14 plus 10 is 24,
Oh, I
so
have
that puts you
17
only
and a half
4
and
feet away
15
from
on
the
mine,
shed
so.
if you put us 10 feet back,
That's what I was reading off of, that's why I said 15.
which is just super
17
tight.
and a half.
Yeah, see, that's not what they have proposed here. They have 14, 15.
Right, either, so, same thing. So 14 foot coming back, plus 10 is 24. He's saying we're 28, which we're 20 feet away, now we're 4 feet off the shed, which
Yep.
is, I mean, that's tight. I could see coming back 5, and then, leaving, which is still a little less than 10, which I don't love, but
You're 17 and a half feet off the sidewalk marker too, so you can shift your house a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's, I mean,
But it's
it's
not
in
gonna
the,
gain you much, but I'm just throwing something out there.
Right, if they shifted the whole building to the north or to the top of the page.
it's not
That
even in
would
the
gain
center, I
some-
mean, it's close to the center of the lot now, it's not a
Right.
wide lot, we're just getting closer to the neighbors, their porch already comes that way, that's,
Can the shed be moved?
I mean, it took them, you know, again, it was with Ken Paul, but it took frickin' 3 years to get it in that exact spot and everyone to be okay with it and this and that, I mean, it's just, we don't wanna move it, it's an extra cost, it's. And even then, if you look at it, I mean, to come over to the side, you know, you gotta stay keeping that 50 from the road set, I mean, it's not gonna gain you anything.
Yeah.
So Tyler, is the addition supposed to have a full foundation under it as well?
If they're putting a foundation under the house, they have to put a foundation under the, under
Okay.
the addition.
So, do they have to have a foundation under, a full cellar underneath the entire building?
It just has to be frost protected. It needs to be, he could do a full foundation on the house and then a, 4 foot frost walls. It just needs to be frost protected. You can't have two different things. I mean, frost protection could even be,
Yeah, what are you thinking, like, what's your?
One of the biggest concerns we have is digging so close to the lake, okay?
Yeah.
And you've got those pine trees that are out front, which there's already been a bunch of erosion there.
Yeah.
There's already, when we looked at it, there's gonna be a lot of damage to those trees, and they're probably not gonna survive. If you're gonna be digging down like you're talking about, as close as you're talking about.
Mhm. That's why I think 5 feet helps a lot and gives you some, keeps us the distance from the shed. I think it's reasonable, to be honest with you. 10 is you're coming out and you're kissing the shed, I think it's completely unnecessary, but.
I don't have the map, I was just looking at some pictures.
So what dimensions do you have on yours?
On mine, they have a proposed 15 deep, 17 and a half wide. Yours is 14 by 15?
Yes. So which,
Well, that's a different.
You guys have all the correct ones.
Okay, so this big one's just,
That's, no idea.
Okay.
Well, that's good, because it's how the calculations.
I'll take 15 by 17 and a half, I can get it.
I don't even know what I wasn't even looking at the lot, the 30% calculation sheet either. I was just reading off of that.
You won't get it.
I know.
John's already done the math. Count on John. Those roots are all right there, huh? I didn't go in the front, I can't.
yeah, it's there, and they're already exposed, There's already a substantial amount of erosion there, so.
Are there alternative options to digging a foundation and winterize?
Say again?
No.
I'm asking, are there alternative solutions to winterize other than digging a full foundation?
Not really. Doing it correctly.
Are there alternative correct solutions?
Yeah.
Not alternative, sure.
They want the foundation. Really what he's trying to say.
Well, I mean,
sonotubes right now.
It's on sonotubes, yeah.
You
So
can
everything's
go in
exposed underneath.
and pack it up and maybe get away with it, but.
Gavin, you can kind of see. tubes.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I'm pitching heap of 5, but I do think that 5 feet does help a lot with staying away from those roots. And then obviously the goal is with the DEP and everything else is to fix the erosion problem, get that stuff covered, protected, and, you know, avoid stuff eroding into the lake.
We got a new septic going in, with new foundation, and then nothing to do with any kind of retaining wall. I see a PBR, but it was just for the foundation.
How about we split the difference and go 7 feet back, and then that'll give them 7 feet between the shed and the building.
That was, you said 10, had 7 in my mind.
Yep, nope. Yeah, my math was backwards.
Yeah, mine too, originally.
I mean, I think that's fair. Not that I have a say in it, but I think it's fair.
And then the erosion you were talking about on the last page of the diagrams, you're gonna plant junipers along the wall?
Yeah, to help kind of just stabilize that area, get some roots going in, this and that.
34.8 feet.
DEP really likes those junipers.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Native, hold the soil together, I don't know. They also don't like retaining walls to help.
When you dig your hole, you should leave that, some of the fill there, and cover your roots. Instead of bringing in foreign soil, because the DEP doesn't want you to bring in foreign material.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you can do something with the front of the yard.
Absolutely. That's the goal. I mean, anyway, it's a trick. We want to get that covered, protective, and this and that, and then, you know.
No more late night tripping hazards.
Right.
Does that cover its house? Without the influence of alcohol?
Yeah, they don't drink though, so it's fine. They can walk through this stuff. No, I think that's fair, cutting it in half and 7 if you guys are on board with that.
Sure.
So right now, you guys we're at 34.8 feet from the high water mark.
0.8 or 0.3?
0.3.
Nothing.
I'm looking at a bigger one, it says 8 over here.
We hit 27.3.
27.8. 27.3 on the other side, I'm sorry. Okay.
You're killing me.
I know. That 0.5 of a foot.
Every bit helps.
Hey, listen. All I cared about is what's the closest point to the high water mark. He has 2 measurements there.
Joe's just doing his job.
Alright, so 34.3.
Should I take out a calculator and make sure that's...
Yep, 27 plus 7 would be 34.
I'll make a motion that we grant the application for practical extent for Stephen Levitt and Corinne Van Tiersen, map lot 153, lot 027, moving the building back 7 feet, no closer than 34.3 feet to the water mark. And with the existing 30%, with the building that's existing and the proposed 30% expansion.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, have a great night.
Thank you.
New business, what I do have for you guys though, if you do anything.
Thank you.
Have a great night. So, this is for, you guys approved the sketch plan for New Beginnings subdivision. This is the preliminary application plan. Meets the 14-day requirement for the next meeting, so I'll pass it up to you guys now. And another thing I have, I'd like to have, with the board's permission, I'd like to have North Star start preparing something for the, when they did the audit on the zoning ordinance, they said there was a bunch of stuff all over the place, and I'd like to have them start preparing a draft where everything flows, like what they was trying to, they're saying it can be cleaned up a little bit. Not including the subdivision regulations, we've already made that clear that the board doesn't want that merged with the ordinance. But just starting to clean it up and try to make it so that we're not bouncing through all over the place. And then I'd like to start thinking about adding the chapter 1, changing the zoning to chapter 1000. We don't have to do it this year, but I'd like to make some space in there for that, because I heard that the next revision will be a mandatory, for towns mandatory to adopt it. The last one wasn't mandatory, and that's why we still have the old version of shoreline zoning. So I'd like to kind of get together, or the surrounding towns are all doing chapter 1000, which is the newer version, but now they're making another version, so I don't really want to go ahead and change it until that new version comes out, because it makes no sense to do it twice. But I would like North Star to start preparing a draft for us, because it's not going to take a weekend or a week. It's going to take a little while. So, if with the board's permission, I'd like to give the okay to Ben and his team to start something like that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Whenever they draft something up, could you have?
I'm going to have them put notes, so it's going to be in a Word document, and I
Yeah.
want the notes on the side.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
I want to know exactly what they're
was
changing, where they're
changed?
moving it.
Yeah.
I don't want a blank document coming to us,
Yeah.
and we got to try to figure out what it is.
Exactly.
I want something in red writing on the
Yeah.
side that says, section 6.1 point whatever has been moved to here to conform with this, and I want exactly why
Yeah.
they thought it was gonna be, needed to be moved. I
Alright, yeah.
want nothing hidden, I want the board to know exactly what's going on, I wanna know what's going on and why. That way I can track where my money's going to. So,
Yeah, beautiful.
but I think that's something that I'd like to, for the, and then start it now, and then, because we're gonna have to bring it to town meeting next year, and have them approve it, so I'd like to have that, and then give all these other committees plenty of time to review it, because I can foresee someone saying, well, there's a huge change here, and you guys only gave us a day to look at this.
Sure.
So I'd like to really kind of get ahead of this, with plenty of time for people to review it. And I would like a motion on that one.
How long do you think it would take them to put something like this together?
I don't know, I think I can get it done, I'm hoping, depends on their work schedule, because last time they just did it as fill-in work, they didn't just plow through it. I'd like to say I could see it by June.
Okay.
I'll talk to Ben, I'll have some conversation with him, and let you guys know more next meeting, but I couldn't go through with it without the board's permission.
Sure. Yeah, I'll make a motion that we have North Star prepared changes to incorporate the changes, their suggested changes for our review by June of this year.
Yeah. I'll let you know if the change,
Okay.
well, I'll let you know on the
All right,
specific.
as soon as possible.
Yeah.
I remember a memo on the subdivision. I don't remember a memo on,
Yeah, so there was two, so I had them, they audited the ordinance first, and then they did the subdivision after.
you don't have to do it today.
Yeah, I could give you guys a copy of it,
Yeah, I would like-
and it was more or less just saying that our ordinance is scattered, it's all over the place, and it really should be more uniform, and so they can make it flow better. The subdivision one wasn't much, there was only a few things. They did also say, most towns incorporate the subdivision regulations or ordinance with the zoning ordinance, so that people aren't looking all over the place for it. We've had this discussion with the board has stated that they like it being a regulations, because it doesn't have to go to town meeting, they can make a change, hold a public hearing, and then make the change themselves. So that was the reason why, that I remember that the board wanted to keep them separate documents.
I would just, if you could pull out the memo
Sure.
on the ordinance and
So I was
maybe for
told,
next meeting, and then we can just review that before we get in whatever they're gonna submit.
Yeah,
So-
maybe we should just give the go-ahead on the chapter 1000 and wait till we can review that memo on the streamlining until.
okay. Yeah, I can, so,
So we go
because I mean,
ahead on that.
I think that the new revision in 1000 isn't gonna be a lot different from what's in there now. They're gonna have some changes, but, yeah. We'll s- So you want me to have them incorporate chapter 1000 with it? What were you saying?
I thought that was part of what you were.
No, I was kind of waiting, I want to wait for the new revision of the shoreline zoning to come out.
So we're just talking about the streamlining.
Right now, we're just talking about the current zoning
Which
ordinance.
we don't, I'm still not sure what that even.
Yeah, I mean, I'll pull that memo up again and I give it to you guys.
I'm reluctant to vote for something I don't know what it entails.
Yeah, I gave you guys all the documents, it was back in June.
Yeah, I'd
It
have
was
to
back in
review-
June,
I'd
so I
have to
mean, I know a
review
lot
it
of times in
again.
the past, but.
Because I remember reviewing it and not really being wild about what they proposed, and that's why we didn't pursue it at that time, but I forget exactly what it was.
Yeah, I just looked quick. I didn't look good. I just looked quick and I couldn't put my hands on it.
Yeah. I can't remember what the other things were. Oh, I remember one of them was that they want to push the best practical locations just to the code officer. That was one of the things.
I don't think that was part of the zoning change, that wasn't, that had, yeah, but that didn't have anything to do with the zoning ordinance change.
That's different.
Yeah, that was different. That was just a suggestion that he made at one of the meetings that.
I mean, it was in the
I'm
doc.
gonna keep looking.
That's
Oh,
all
for
I saw.
subdivision.
So that's the subdivision.
I know it's not in my email. So I can also, so I wanted to let you guys know this, so on our town website, on the very bottom, until we get the whole email things, you guys can type in your emails here, and and I believe your password will come up at some point, and you can actually access your email accounts. So if we send you emails, I mean, I'm still trying to get it, I want it so that you guys can just go do it on your phones, but, or your actual computers, but until we get this all.
So is that our old email address that we have?
I don't even remember my password, man.
Yeah, I can run downstairs and grab that memo quick if you guys wanna wait a few seconds.
I think that's it right there.
Yeah, I think he's put his hands on it.
That's it.
Not that I had it right
I am pretty
Boom.
shocked, Chris. Amazed.
Boom.
The fact that you want a pat on the shoulder is pretty bad.
Right.
Prepare.
Yeah, but at least I was old.
You know, prepare the document
Some odd reason.
the way it would be written, incorporated.
Yeah, I think I like the site.
More tangible, something about that, go through line by line. Or just like kind of a written document that states what they want to do, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of where
I think it was too bad.
Huh?
I remember reading parts of it.
It wasn't really, it wasn't crazy, but he wanted to do some stuff with the continuous site plan review, I believe, I can't remember it all.
if they just like work on it.
Wanted to move something with the good neighbors, all, there was things that was being moved around that he wanted.
Right, instead of going
We
from
basically looked
like
at it
this
over the
Right.
next 2 weeks.
to
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So in the chapter 1000, it's not gonna change, just some quirky stuff?
Oh yeah, chapter 1000 is completely different than what we do
No,
right
no,
now.
I'm saying.
Because right now, there's no construction, no new construction within, no expansion within 25 feet of the water.
No, but I'm saying the new one they're putting out, it's just gonna.
I don't know,
Quirky
I don't
changes.
even know, I just know they've been drafting it. Then there's no, you no longer get 35 feet for the maximum height of structure. It's a tier effect, so if you're at like 25 feet, you're allowed 15 feet for your structure. If you're at 20, but you're grandfathered to certain heights, so you do elevation certificates. But then you go from like, let's say 20 to 25, you get like 15 to 20 feet or whatever it is, then 25 to 50, you get 20.
Well, we touched on that before with one of our other code officers.
Yeah.
a little bit.
I'm sure you did. It's just, there's a lot more work involved with, like the best practical locations or most practical extents. There's a little bit more to it than what we have now.
Right.
You also go by footprint, you don't go by, volume. Volume gets taken out of it now, and it goes by footprint. But that's why you're restricted to certain heights.
Right.
So that's what keeps it down. So like I said, so if you're at 25 feet off the water, you're allowed, if your structure was a very small thing, you're allowed 15-foot high maximum height of structure. And if you're at 50 feet, you're allowed 25 or 20 feet. And then if you're at 75 feet, you're allowed 25 feet. So that restricts your volume, so you just can't do footprint and go up to 35 feet, because then you would be doubling your structures. So then they give you a tier effect, and you actually would have to, if you had a house that's 30 feet, that part of your house has to be at 20, whatever it is, and then the rest, if something goes behind 50 feet, then you can have it up higher. So you get like a tier, you know, up.
Prevents the Outer Banks syndrome.
Yeah.
I've been to the Outer Banks and see
No.
those houses on the
Oh,
water.
just straight up.
Yeah,
Like 4 stories.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
massive.
Yeah.
So the volume goes away, so we get rid of that calculations, because that can be a confusing one sometimes, but it goes by footprint and distance off of the water. And if your structure was a certain height that exceeds what it is, then you get an elevation certificate saying that the ridge is at, 32 feet or 28 feet, so you're grandfathered to that height.
That memo included doing the 1,000 work and included moving the,
Regulations?
yeah, in, so that part is
Go.
going to have to do.
You don't have to travel very far, only a couple miles. Now help this poor gentleman. It's Saturday night.
We're putting a hold on the resolution, or?
I think we're discussing.
Yeah, we're still kind of, I mean, I did find a couple things that I remember. Like they want to roll, they're proposing rolling the good neighbor and design standards underneath site plan review, so good neighbor would only be applicable for site plan review, which personally.
Usually really only does though. It's only to some of that stuff. You don't really hold that to it's talking about downlighting, noise, odor.
Well, those are all things that I would want my neighbor to conform to too. I don't want his lights shining right at me.
Yeah, I don't think that should.
This is something that we've gone through before with the, it's been suggested before that the good neighbor policy only be for larger commercial development, site plan review. And, I mean, that's just one of the things I see in here that I personally object to. Cause it would change the rural character of the town. I mean, I've been through that one before. But it's hard to know, some of it's hard to know what they would do,
Yeah, I mean,
cause
some
it's
of the,
vague
you gotta,
in here.
yeah,
But
it's,
that's a concrete example of something that they are looking to do that, it says it's right here.
And obviously we can have progress reports and they can come in and talk about what they're doing. Or I can have them in here and we can have a discussion with them. It'd be a lot easier than me than me trying to,
Translate.
right now I just have not to add no subdivision regulations, do not add the good neighbor to the site plan review. These are just ideas right now. Obviously the full board will do it and, make that decision. Or you add it to it and then still leave a section out there for as a good, something like that. But I really think that stuff really, isn't it covered in this site plan review anyway? Because that site plan checklist is pretty.
it applies to site plan.
It
but
applies,
also-
it applies across the
We've
board.
applied it to other.
Like a conditional use,
Sure.
Right.
good neighbor would apply a conditional use, whereas if it was only site plan review, it wouldn't.
Right.
So Gavin brought up a good point, which is, are some of these changes due to the fact that we're out of compliance? Is the town and our regulations out of compliance, if anything, relative to the state, or?
I think this all started, I don't even know how it started. I didn't start it. It was either the select board, I think it might have been the select board.
Because the biggest thing is the idea of like, are we just making work for work's sake? I mean, in terms of
No,
like
it was,
rearranging things?
The select board had asked me to have it audited to make sure that we were in compliance.
Okay,
That's why they audited it and went through it and checked everything out. And then I brought it to you guys, I believe. It was started by the select board.
okay.
Generally, some of the streamlining they're talking about where it's streamlined, you're not flipping back to 6 different sections. Generally, I think that would be a good change.
Yeah, like if we're not talking, like you said, like we're not just making work for work's sake, or if we're not directly out of compliance stuff. Like me personally, like I don't have a problem with them coming to us with a draft of what their proposal is, so we can actually, because for me personally, it gives me a very tactile, concrete, like, okay, this is what it's gonna look like, kind of thing, versus the memo, which are, and this is just how my brain works, I guess, because having it, I can try to apply the memo within the current documents as best I can, but until I have a draft of what they're proposing, it makes it more difficult to kind of say yay or nay on any of it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think we know no 1,000, no subdivision, no. Well, I agree with
Good
Gavin
neighbor.
on good neighbor,
Yeah.
and then we could get a draft on
Um,
all the suggestions and go from there.
Yeah.
Now, the good neighbor, if he's saying he wants, I mean, it still applies to site plan, it applies to the whole ordinance right now, because it's separate.
Right.
Yeah,
Um,
by keeping it separate, so we can use it.
If we put in some words that says that this is, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that, never mind.
Just leave it
Yeah,
as
no, let
it,
them
yeah, just leave it
figure
as
that
is.
Is that-
Let them figure that out.
Yeah.
Either it
Yeah.
stays a standalone section.
I'll have a conversation with Ben, or one of his team members, and I'll get something, hopefully get something in writing for the next meeting. This is what we're proposing to do. If you guys want us to do anything different or anything more, less or more, let us know. But, I just wanna let them know to put us on the books to start, let's start something. But this is gonna be a continuance. I want updates, I wanna bring it to the board every once in a while.
Okay.
So,
I'll second Andrew's motion that we go ahead with, but I'd like to have those.
I have no subdivision, no good neighbor, no chapter 1,000 right now.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So second, all in favor? All opposed?
Cool.
Thank you.
Is this yours, Chris?
Yeah.
Someone's over there.
Thanks.
That's all, so as of right now, I have, next meeting, just the subdivision that I handed to you is the only thing I have. I mean, obviously, we have some time before the next meeting that comes in. I have not heard from the other division. I do know that they're planning on going to the Board of Appeals, to get leniency from the zoning ordinance. They sounded like they wanted to do something right away. I still haven't heard from them. Or I forwarded them up to Jen's office because I have to stay out of it if they're gonna appeal, something that I'm involved with. So, yeah. As of right now, just
No update on the one down on Milton Mills,
no one else.
corner of Milton Mills, 109.
No,
So-
no, I'm actually I might have a Zoom meeting coming up with the DOT. They sent me an email earlier this morning, and I don't think I need to be in it because I was already in one. I've already expressed my opinion on it. I don't know if it's somebody different, but no. They had told me they were planning on December. I haven't heard anything from the engineer or the applicant or the
Someone's down
proposed
there.
applicant.
Someone's down there today.
I think they're really trying to iron out this DOT issue first because that's putting a huge hiccup in the proposal.
Right.
So, yeah, unfortunately, I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, that's kind of, DOT doesn't want to enter on 109, is that the?
So right now, the DOT changed their rules, and you can only, the one entrance on the least traveled road. And Milton Mills is, according to the traffic study, is the least traveled road. They were seeking for 2 entrances, or an entrance on 109, not Milton Mills. And then they're also trying it where they have one on Milton Mills, and then they have a shared entrance with Mapes. I don't know where all that's going, so. That was just what they had proposed when they came in front of us and talked and did all that stuff, so.
So like the eight unit mini mall or whatever that would be north of the gas station would have to be, also, you'd have to enter from Milton Mills Road to access that?
No, because I would assume
So that would have to.
they have to
separate
they have to
entrance.
divide those
They'd have to
properties.
divide it into 2
Yeah.
and there wouldn't be a shared entrance, but it would still be an entrance there.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
entrance would be on. It just the
So
entrance would be up further north.
Yeah.
They were trying to keep
opposed
it.
to
They were
across
trying to
from
make
13th
it
Street.
perpendicular to 13th Street, and that we could serve both entities.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're doing. I know that I'm sure that they've been fighting this one tooth and nail because that's a pretty big thing for what they're trying to propose. Yeah, so that's my meeting. That's my pitch.
I move we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second that.
All in favor? All opposed? All right.